avoid, yet it must be declared. Evil dwells among us, not as horned monsters or fantasy beasts, but as individuals who disguise themselves with kindness, who shake your hand while secretly planning your downfall, who smile in your face while sharpening their words behind your back. These are not merely complicated people. These are not simply imperfect individuals. These are evil souls. And God urges you to recognize them, to steer clear of them, and to guard your spirit from their darkness. Make no mistake, not everyone in your life has been sent by God. Some are placed to derail you, to distract your focus, and to drain the very light God deposited within you. Yet, in His perfect wisdom, God has not left you unaware. He shows you signs. He gently speaks to your spirit with divine warning. If you ignore those signals, you invite chaos into your life. If you silence that quiet inner voice, you will carry the burden of relationships God never intended for you to bear. Evil is not a mere theory, a tale, or a symbol. It is a spiritual illness, a corruption of the heart that infects all it touches. It can dwell in a trusted friend, a workplace peer, a figure of authority, or even a member of your family. God instructs us to protect our hearts, for the heart is the source of life. If you allow evil people to plant their influence in your life, they will suffocate your joy, rob you of peace, and dismantle your destiny one piece at a time. God never intended His children to walk in blindness. He imparts spiritual insight to help you look beyond pleasant speech, beyond superficial charm, and beyond the false mask. Listen closely now, because what I'm about to say may challenge you. It might stir your spirit. It may bring faces to your mind, memories to your heart, and clarity to your confusion. The first mark of a wicked person is deceit. They are not who they appear to be. Their speech is smooth, but their heart is laced with manipulation. They behave as if they care, but their loyalty is shallow and fleeting. God clearly warns us, you will know them by their fruits, not by their compliments, not by their titles, not by their charm, but by their fruit. Observe the patterns. Look at the trail of confusion they leave behind. Notice the conflict they create. Where there is ongoing drama, gossip, slander, and unrest, there evil is at work. The second indicator is that they feed off your weakness. They are not strengthened by your success, but by your struggle. When you are in pain, they act concerned, but secretly gather information to use as a weapon. When you open your heart to them, they store your wounds, not to help you, but to control you. Such people never support your healing. They rely on your brokenness to maintain control. God has called you to walk in wisdom. Do not throw your pearls before pigs. Do not expose your wounds to those who delight in your scars. God's people must have the courage to walk away from those who feed on their sorrow. Evil individuals carry a spirit of blame. They constantly shift responsibility onto others and refuse to own their faults. They lie without effort. They distort the truth. They reshape the past to fit their narrative. And when God begins to promote you, they can't handle it. Their envy comes wrapped in friendly advice. Their jealousy hides beneath fake concern. But God sees every hidden motive. He uncovers the heart. He reveals to you that some people you consider companions are actually adversaries in disguise. As He begins to lift you higher, He will also reveal who cannot accompany you into your next season. One major sign of evil is control. Evil people despise your independence. They dislike when you think freely, when you pray without their influence, and when your choices don't require their approval. God offers liberty. Evil seeks to dominate. If someone insists on controlling your thoughts, your decisions, and your emotions, that is not love. It is bondage. And God has not called you to live under the authority of another person's grip. He calls you to stand in strength, to walk in mental freedom, and to refuse to let anyone enslave your soul. These people are without empathy. Their hearts are hardened. When you suffer, they remain indifferent. When you weep, they offer no comfort. Evil individuals are emotionally hollow. They witness your pain, yet feel no compassion. They hear your cries, but stay unmoved. Still, they expect your presence when they are in need. Through this absence of empathy, God reveals that their spirit is not in alignment with His. Because those who truly walk with God are filled with mercy, kindness, and genuine love. But those overtaken by evil become desensitized to the suffering of others. There's another sign, perhaps the most alarming of all. Evil people are architects of division. They scatter seeds of conflict. They flourish in chaos. They manipulate both sides, ignite drama, and then step back to enjoy the fallout. God is not the source of confusion, evil is. So if your life is constantly overwhelmed with emotional unrest, betrayal, misunderstandings, and quiet battles, take a hard look around. Ask yourself, who have I welcomed into my inner circle? Who have I trusted that God had already warned me about? God is the God of stillness and harmony. Evil disrupts that harmony. It sends waves crashing through your spirit. And sometimes the only way to calm the storm is to eliminate the one who's stirring it. These people are tireless in their manipulation. They gaslight you. They make you question your own memories, your reality, even your sanity. They will wrong you and then expect you to apologize. They will inflict pain and then claim to be the victim. Evil distorts the truth until you no longer recognize yourself. And if you stay near such people long enough, they will eventually convince you that you're the problem. But God says differently. God calls you to walk in truth. He urges you to open your eyes and recognize that the enemy doesn't always arrive with a weapon. Sometimes he shows up with charm. Another trait of the wicked is pride. Arrogance is their native language. They refuse to yield, to apologize, or to consider another view. They elevate themselves and veil their pride beneath a disguise of false modesty. God opposes the proud. He warns us repeatedly that pride precedes destruction, yet evil clings to arrogance as if it were a shield. They will not admit their errors, ask for pardon, or even consider the possibility of fault. They exalt their ego, and in doing so, they close their ears to the voice of God. Do not entangle your spirit with the proud, for their path leads to downfall. Evil individuals remain unchanged, not because transformation is impossible, but because they reject it. God offers chances, delivers warnings, and extends grace, but rather than turning, they dig in deeper. Instead of repentance, they wear disguises. God is long-suffering, but He is not unaware. He allows space for repentance, but He will not permit evil to dominate indefinitely. And when you insist on clinging to something God is trying to remove, you postpone your peace, delay your restoration, and hinder your breakthrough. At times, the bravest step of faith is releasing someone you deeply loved because you know God is calling you to ascend. They despise the truth. The moment you speak it, their anger erupts. They attempt to silence you, distort your words, or shut down the conversation. Why? Because truth reveals darkness. It exposes it. It strips away its mask and lays bare what they are desperate to keep hidden. And so, they cannot endure people who live in truth. But you must never shy away from proclaiming it. God didn't call you to be quiet in the face of wickedness. He called you to stand strong, to be a light, to remain unwavering, even if your voice trembles. They might speak of God, recite holy verses, and dress the part of the faithful, but the light of God is absent from them. For genuine intimacy with God produces gentleness, grace, patience, and uprightness. Yet evil wraps itself in religion to appear righteous while remaining rotten at the core. God is never deceived, and he doesn't want his people to be deceived either. They may quote sacred words, but their hearts are distant from the Lord. They might kneel in prayer, but their spirit stands defiantly in rebellion. Evil hides behind a costume of holiness while their intentions drip with venom. God does not judge by surface appearance. He searches the soul. He discerns the hidden agenda. And in his timing, he reveals the reality behind the disguise. It is not enough to look godly. God demands authenticity. Evil may mimic worship, but it flees from true surrender. You see, evil fears being brought into the light because truth is its greatest threat. But in his mercy, God allows their masks to fall when your heart is prepared to see the truth. And once your eyes are opened, once the illusion vanishes and clarity arrives, you must not waver. Do not ignore what God has unveiled. Do not question his revelation. Evil flourishes in delay. It thrives in your hesitation, in your guilt, and in your habit of excusing what God is trying to eliminate. There are individuals in your life right now whom God never sent. They may have served a purpose for a season, but that time has come to a close. Yet you continue holding on, believing they will change, praying for their transformation. But God isn't calling you to fix them.